Hello, gorgeous humans, and welcome to Conversations with myself, Abigail. And I've got quite a few at the moment as I've just returned from retreat in Scotland with my pal Lisa Shaw. So many things I want to talk about, but I want to start with a little question for you. How do you hold your power? Now, that almost feels a little bit nonsensical, doesn't it, really? Or like, what on earth does that mean? How do you hold your power when life force starts moving through you? How do you hold that, knowing whether it's necessary to hold it so that you can respond accordingly, or spend it and express yourself in that very moment? For someone like me, who is very good at expressing themselves, I have learned that my go-to is to almost performatively express, which takes out a little bit of that authenticity or authority. So I just blah. But actually, I realised that a lot of the time I don't need to do that. In fact, holding that power, conserving that power, is far more beneficial to myself in the situation. And on this retreat, it was the last day, and it was nearly the last practice, where I took this group into a yang bioenergetic practice. And bioenergetics is where you create charge within the body. So you start to create energy, and you can feel it because the body will start to tremble, and it creates that life force. And what happens is that energy, that charge, starts to hit on our emotional blocks. And it could be that a past experience, or anything really, a recent experience, or your programming, your glass ceiling, all of those limitations come to the fore, and you're invited to do something with it. And one of the gorgeous women on this retreat had charge hit upon a recent experience whereby she had to extract herself from the group with a friend and go and sit outside. So I gave her some space, but I also know that as a facilitator, I want and need to go out to her to regulate her and bring her into this moment and make sure she's okay. Because if we are left too long in that soup, it actually creates a deeper groove of that. And so when I go outside, her immediate reaction is to apologise for herself, to apologise for crying. And she kept on apologising to me. And I allowed her to do like this outpouring. And then a container needs to be created, in my experience, that allows her to understand and integrate and move forward. And so I said to her, as kind as your apologies are, they're unnecessary. I don't need you to tell me that you're sorry, because I already love myself. I don't need you to tell me that you're sorry. And her first reaction was, when I said, I don't need you to tell me you're sorry, was, really? A sense of utter disbelief that she doesn't have to apologise for taking up space and being here and communicating and expressing herself. And then when I said that I love myself, therefore I don't need anyone else to make me feel better about being me, again, her eyebrows shot to the ceiling. Like, how? How do you love yourself? And I know that that's not easy. And don't get me wrong, at certain points of my cycle, depending on what is happening in the world and how I've looked after myself, that can be slightly more challenging. But generally, through all of the initiations and practices that I have entertained throughout my life, I truly know that I am loved, and that I love myself, and that there is nothing that I need to prove. Now, that doesn't mean that life has always been easy, and I'm sure, like most of you listening, we've all been through the syrup, haven't we? We've all been through that quagmire of utter crap where we are challenged with ourselves. And a lot of that for me happened at childhood. And one of the big things that I integrated, that I formulated a belief about, was that it wasn't safe to be me, and who I wasn't welcome. And so the drive and determination to be great outperformed everything else. And that led to being really good at taking drugs. Or I say really good. I was actually pretty bad. And being really good at drinking. But again, I am absolutely shocking at both. But I spent many years giving it a good go. And don't get me wrong, I have memories with friends that will last forever. But that only ever fueled the echo of that need to feel safe as I was, and to be welcomed as I was. And so when we look at the way we are expressing ourselves, we start to see the habits that are constantly playing out. And I've just listened to the birth imprint with Jane Hardwick Collins that blew my mind about how your birth, what happened at birth, can evoke habits and needs as to how you create your life. Oh my days. I'll go into this at another time because I want to come back to this conversation, but this stuff is deep. But it's all part of the same soup, right? So again, I come back to the question to you: how do you express yourself? How do you communicate yourself? And when that adversary, that challenge presents itself, what is your response? Because this beautiful human went straight back into her anxieties, straight back into it, like taking herself away, not thinking she belonged in this situation. She felt that she was taking away someone else's limelight. Can't think of another word, but stealing their thunder, when the whole point of retreating, if that is what you are doing, is to be part of the whole group and to feel comfortable. And it's to feel comfortable with everyone expressing themselves, no matter how deep that is. And that can bring up so much mud. But as I said to this beautiful human, it is now your responsibility to nourish these habits and needs, to transform them. Otherwise, you will go through life with these getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And what I do know at midlife for women, and men, because we can see this in what they call the andropause. Oh yeah, we got menopause, they got andropause. Midlife, the crisis, is that all of that stuff that you have either been ignorant to and ignored, or you just have not had the language to learn and integrate and move forwards, rumbles out of you like some volcano on steroids. And this is what starts to take over, because there's no hiding it anymore. You can't hide it. You know, I love it. In Chinese medicine, they have various lines. We all know about the meridians in the body for the organs. And they have these lines. And one of these energy lines is called the girdle line. And it runs quite interestingly through where we get that, you know, that midlife lump, that bit of weight around the belly. And it is said that it's here that we put the emotions and the experiences that we're not ready to deal with. Isn't it funny at midlife how that part of the body just appears for no apparent reason to get bigger? Now, I'm not naive and totally woo-wah to know that obviously insulin sensitivity and hormonal function and toxic load and all of those things play a part. But in my world, your emotional health is the foundation for everything else, because the way you feel about yourself is the way that you will feel life, and the way that life will respond to you, and vice versa. So if you have so much noise going on internally, which is about you not being good enough and you not being welcome, that is exactly how your system is going to run. And they've seen this, yeah? They've seen this in Petri dishes. When they put cells in a Petri dish and they put a positive something, which a human cell would absorb, and they put a negative something, and you can see how the cell is repelled from that negativity and how it is attracted to the positivity. I mean, go figure, right? Anyway, we can see how our bodies behave and respond the way that they do. So for you to have a hold on, an understanding of your emotions is far more powerful than you, as far as I'm concerned, knowing about your hormones, because most of the time we are given all of this information about hormones to go into the filing system or on the bookshelf where it stays, because we have to be emotionally stable and understanding to integrate that. So that was my little one piece from the retreat, but there are many pieces that shall follow after this. But I just wanted to share that because it comes back to also compliments, how you absorb a compliment, how you return a compliment. But ultimately, it's how you communicate yourself in any given situation, but especially when you come into an opportunity where life is bigger than what it has been. And what do you do with that? Thanks for listening.